Hello, my name is Dylan Bice, a student here at Metro State University, here to talk about Layer 2 network security for CYBR332. Before I begin, I do just want to note that the purpose of this video is educational only, and I am not liable for any damages that may arise from following the advice or demonstrations in this video. So just to start, we are going to talk about what is Layer 2, how to secure Layer 2, and is that security still necessary? And then I will follow that up with a quick demonstration on a Layer 2 security method. So what is Layer 2? Well, as the name states, Layer 2 is the second layer of the OSI model between physical and network. This layer encapsulates data in frames and forwards by MAC addresses. MAC addresses are unique to every single device on the internet. Your computer, your phone, even an internet-connected fridge may have a MAC address. Layer 2 traffic does not actually require a router necessarily. So some methods for securing Layer 2 include virtual local area networks, commonly known as VLANs, port security, 802.1x, DHCP snooping, and ARP inspection. Virtual local area networks, also known as VLANs, segment network traffic using tags. Traffic in a VLAN can only talk with other devices in a VLAN without crossing a router. Device traffic is usually tagged into a VLAN by a network switch, and while this isn't very secure on its own, it does have other benefits. Port security is a setting on a switch that limits the device's connection to a switch by their MAC address. MACs can be limited in number by connection to a switch. They can be hard-coded into the configuration of the switch, or they can be learned by the switch by a process known as sticky. Ports can be restricted or shut down by violations of port security policy. 802.1x is similar to port security, but devices are authenticated before they can access a network. The network switch sends device authorization requests to a separate device or server. This then requires the server to authenticate the device and a method to authorize this device itself. This may be a SSL certificate, or for some devices, this may just be by its MAC address by itself. DHCP snooping is a technique meant to prevent rogue DHCP servers within a network. A network switch will monitor DHCP traffic crossing it and build a table of MAC to IP binds. The device then uses these binds to create trusted and untrusted ports on the switch. ARP inspection is very similar to DHCP snooping. It monitors ARP traffic to stop man-in-the-middle attacks on the switch. It uses the information gathered during DHCP snooping to validate ARP bindings. This is similar in using the MAC to IP binds. Similar to DHCP snooping, it also creates trusted and untrusted ports on the switch. Now that we've gone through some of these methods, you may be asking the question, is Layer 2 security still necessary? After all, with advanced firewalls and other network security devices operating at higher levels in the OSI model, as well as end-device security measures, is securing Layer 2 still necessary? I would argue yes, and here's why. It helps prevent unauthorized devices from accessing a network. Whether port security or 802.1x, you can use these methods to stop a device from even getting onto your network. Some of these methods also protect against certain man-in-the-middle attacks on vulnerable network processes, such as DHCP and ARP. Not all network traffic actually reaches a firewall or other device at higher OSI layers. If a device is in the same VLAN as another device, that traffic will never reach a router. It will go directly between the two devices across a switch. And then more layers of security equals fewer attack surfaces. The more methods you have in place to defend your network, the fewer ways that attackers can use to compromise your network. And now a quick demonstration of port security using a simulated Cisco switch. So here you can see I've created just a very basic network laboratory consisting of a virtualized Cisco switch using iOS and a couple of virtualized PCs. I'm going to go into the switch here to configure port security. I'm going to do it in a couple different ways. So first I'm going to open the configuration terminal. And then I'm going to go to the first interface that I want to configure. This is interface fast Ethernet 0/1, and it's connected to PC 0. From here, the first thing I need to do is make sure that this is a switch port. I'm going to set it to switch port mode access, and this just means that a single device is connected to the switch port. From there, I'm going to turn on port security. Now you can see I've got a couple different options here, but first you can see at the very last option there is just hitting enter and turning on switch port security. From there, I'm going to start setting up my options for port security. So you can see one of my options is a maximum number of secure addresses that can be used on this port. This means that if I start typing in here maximum, I can see that I can set up to 132 different devices that can use this port by their MAC address. But I'm just going to set it to 1. If I go back to switch port security and look at my options, I also have the option to set what happens on a violation. And I have 3 different options here: protect, restrict, and shut down. I'm just going to go ahead and set this as a shutdown. Finally, I go back to switch port security. I can set the MAC address that is allowed to use this port. And I've got a couple different options on how to do this. One is to hard code the MAC address of the device into the switch port, and the other is to use what is known as sticky. This is when the switch learns the MAC address of the device that is connected and stores it in a table. And this is used to determine the device that can use the switch port. And that's the option I'm going to use this time. So you can see I just hit enter. And I can go to end to get all the way back out to the main terminal of the switch. And from there I can do a show port security interface F0/1. That's the interface that I went ahead and configured. And you can see now that port security is enabled, it is secured up, my violation mode is shut down, and that I have a maximum MAC address of 1. Now let's go ahead and configure the second interface. So once again, I'm going to go back into the configuration terminal, and this time I'm going to go to interface F0/2. Now this is connected to my other PC. So once again, I will make sure that it is set to switch port mode access because only one device is connected. And then I will enable switch port security. I will look at some of my other options. I will make sure that the maximum is set to 1 once again. And this time I'm only going to restrict on a violation. Now once again, I need to set a MAC address for the port. Now this time I'm going to go ahead and just hard code the MAC address of the device that I want. So I'll go to my PC, I'll go to my interface that is connected to the switch, and I will just go ahead and grab this MAC address. So I'm going to copy it, and go back into my switch, and paste it here. So it has found a duplicate because my PC is already connected, but that's understandable. So once again, we'll end, and we'll check our port security here. We'll do interface F0/2. You can see once again that the port security is enabled, violation mode is restricted, I have a maximum MAC address of 1, and right now this is actually showing as a total MAC address of 1 because I hard-coded my MAC address into here. Now if I close this out, you can see that my connections are still actually up. I still have access on these PCs to the switch. But what happens if I go ahead and delete these connections? Now I can try to connect PC1 to the original first interface that the PC0 was connected to. And likewise, I will connect PC0 to F02, which was the interface that PC1 was connected to. I'm going to reopen my switch. And once again, I'm going to show port security. And I'm just going to go ahead and see what happens when I just hit enter. And this will show me kind of a summary of the port security that is going on the switch. Now you can see here, both these two devices have shown as a security action of shutdown and restrict. And this is because the two PCs that are connected are now no longer matching the MAC addresses that the switch expects. This helps to make sure that a rogue device can't plug into a switch that you have on your company floor or really anywhere that's accessible maybe to the public and have access to your network without you knowing.